In this episode, we've got 5 crazy conversions that defy the laws of engineering. We got totally tricky transformations.
I would just say that they're just plain fun.
Jaw-dropping alterations.
Speed-wise, I think I got it up to 100 miles an hour.
And mind-blowing modifications.
Walter actually has 85 speakers on him.
Probably the first reaction we get is, aw, what are those things?
These 5 vehicles prove that you can pretty much make a sick ride out of almost anything.
How the heck did that thing get created?
It's like reliving your childhood again on a daily basis.
It's just a fun thing.
Brother, some people have really lived a life.
Walter had his military service. Next, he ended up fighting wildfires. He's been to Burning Man 11 times. He's worked events for Google and for SpaceX and done all that at over 50 years old.
Man, I gotta meet this guy.
Walter's a 2-to-1 scale Volkswagen bus.
I get it. He's talking about the ride.
A couple of us found Walter in an old abandoned junkyard. In his original form, he had the basic shape of a Volkswagen bus. He was boxy and had a split front windshield, and the driving position was out in front of the front wheels, which was very, very helpful in ultimately doing the design and completing the fabrication.
Previously a 1963 fire truck, Walter the bus is now living life as the ultimate party conversion. Built by Kirk, it travels the USA, entertaining the crowds as a stage, entertainment installation, and even a dazzling light show. In 2003, this junkyard relic was rediscovered, reconfigured, and reimagined as the world's largest VW bus, and it is glorious.
I am Nate Motzenbacher. I am the lead mechanic behind Walter the bus. Original chassis of the fire truck is still there. It's all underneath this shell of what is the bus now. When you're in the, I'd call the observation deck, the big party deck on top, you're actually walking on the roof of the original fire truck. When you're in the cab, when you're sitting in the driver's seat, you are sitting about 5 feet above where the original driver's seat was, and all the controls are just extended up through the floor, and you're able to drive like that.
From putting out fires to starting parties, you gotta check out the crazy spec on this conversion.
Walter actually has 85 speakers on him. It takes a lot to be able to compact 85 speakers, so we had to hide a few. I can't say for sure how many people we've ever had up here as the max, but I can tell you that after one event, we had to take the rear springs off and had them recurved because they were flattened out from so much weight and so many people up here. I have backup cameras and cameras all around, so I'll be able to see when I'm doing anything in tight spaces or with a crowd. Essentially, kind of be able to drive a 2-story house from the 2nd-story window. Quite a trip to be able to drive this thing.
Put on our seatbelt.
Challenge accepted. Let's see the magic, brother.
Take the whole lane here. We need the whole road. There we go. Walter drives a lot like a Volkswagen bus. There's just something special about the way you drive a vehicle when you're over the front tires. Whenever anybody sees Walter, it's a smile, a wave, and you just don't see something like this driving down the road every day. I think the coolest part of Walter is just like that. Just like whoever that was, they certainly weren't expecting to see something like this today. It brightens your day, it opens your eyes, makes you wonder what else might be possible, and just wonder how the heck did that thing get created.
And a rolling party? Now that's my kind of ride. From entertainment on wheels to getting air miles on the ground. Something strange has landed in Roswell. Not that Roswell. It's like nothing else on Earth. It's about as crazy as a conversion gets. This is the plane car. Owner, creator, and pilot of this weird and wonderful ride is Mark Ray.
When you see something like this in front of you, it puts a smile on your face, and that's what I'm all about. What you're looking at is a GMC Sierra 2500 heavy-duty, 3/4-ton pickup truck with a 1974 Cessna Ram aircraft. It was a twin prop.
This half-plane, half-pickup mashup was a passion project for owner Mark. But you think this is a crazy conversion? This is one of 3 that Mark has completed. But this plane car is the star attraction, taking off in car shows, county fairs, and the big time, local news. But this conversion is no fluke. Mark has been flipping rides most of his life.
By the time I was 27, I already had owned 400 cars. I'd buy them, fix them up, sell them, just loved them, just went through them like water. I found the plane at a boneyard, which is like an auto salvage yard for aircraft. The hardest part of building this plane car was where to cut the floor and how high to mount the plane on top of the truck chassis so that my passengers could get in and get out without bumping their heads. This is the largest project I've ever had. I'm very proud of this vehicle. It took me 6 months to build this and have all these guys involved in helping me get it done. So I had this door fabricated with this step to get in and get out of. It's got LED backup lights. I've got my turn signals. I've got my brake light. Here's my jet fuel. Had to find a place to put my gasoline in. I removed the cab, all 4 doors, the roof, the windows. The truck also had an 8-foot bed, which was great because I needed as much length as I could to accommodate a big airplane like this. It's completely street legal. I've got headlights and taillights and turn signals. It has seat belts. It has a horn. It's got air conditioning. I've got stereo radio, and I've got a backup camera. As far as the way it drives great.
Brother, I'm impressed, but you must have a very understanding partner.
When Mark first started building the car, it was just an extension of the kinds of things he's always done. And he had already built a boat car and a prior plane car. So it wasn't too much of a surprise that he wanted to extend on that. It's just so much fun. How do you not smile when you see something like this?
I hear you, sister, but is the plane car for keeps, or is it time to sell and take off with the cash?
I've been asked by people if ever I wanted to sell my plane car. And in the past, I'd say no. Then people come along and make me an offer I can't refuse. So if the price was right, I would sell it. And I'd probably just go out and build another one, bigger and larger. Building this was a lot of fun. It took a lot of imagination, a lot of time, a lot of money, and a lot of effort. I really had a blast building it. It just rides down the road smoothly. And I should say it flies down the road smoothly.
Let's hope Mark doesn't call Mayday on this baby just yet. Over and out, brother man. From flying down the highways to bumping through city traffic. Our next ultimate ride is an antique, built for fun, and designed to be crashed by children.
My name is Tom Wright. This car in front of me here is a 1947-48 Lessee auto scooter.
This crazy conversion is a road-legal bumper car. And our man Tom has a whole fleet of them.
I would just say that they're just plain fun.
They sure are, man. Tom built over 10 gas-powered road-legal bumper cars so he and his family can roll out in a head-turning convoy of fun. These rides are insane and I love them. Converting a fleet of fairground bumpers to ride in style on the streets of California is a wild idea. This project was Tom's first conversion. Once he started, there was no stopping him. And Tom wasn't in it for the bucks. These rides were fabricated for pure joy.
The purpose at the time was to restore it, put it in a showroom of my business, let people enjoy it. The more I thought about it before I ever finished that project, I decided that it needed to be mobile. The easiest way to do that was to put a little Honda 110, and that worked fine, but it just wasn't fast enough. And at that point, I decided to convert it to a 6-speed Kawasaki 500 2-cylinder Ninja motor. What makes this car unique, it has a 6-speed transmission. It has a independent rear suspension, which makes the car handle extremely well. The wheels are custom golf cart wheels. Because this is a California and a beach community, I thought the wood would be a nice touch with all of the woody cars in California.
Driving these mini wonders is a breeze. Finding them to restore, that's a bit more of a challenge.
Because they're old, they're from the 30s, 40s, and 50s. They were sitting outside, riddled with rust, 18 inches on 3 or 4 or 5 of these cars, and had to be cut off and all new sheet metal put in. I'm a self-taught welder, fabricator, and learned a lot the hard way. Acquiring the car, acquiring all of the components that I needed, making the frames, sending the bodies out for paint. It took me about 10 months to a year from beginning to end. Hood ornament came off and I came up with this idea from a trophy shop. This happens to be the cheapest part of the whole car. It's $5 from the trophy shop.
Whoa, that is cheap. But the impact of these rides is priceless.
Normally the first reaction we get is awe, and then they try and figure out in their brain, what was that? What are those things?
It's just a blast to drive these cars. It's so unique that you can't compare it to anything else you would drive. You don't realize until you get in one what they're capable of and what they can do. And I love driving them.
But they're so fun. It gets really hot and sweaty, but it's just like the experience of being out there. It's like, it's really fun. I really like it.
It's the people that view these things when we're driving down the road. They have no idea we're coming, and all of a sudden they're caught in 10 cars, and the smiles and the thumbs up and the waves and the honks, and those are the things that made the hobby worth doing. Extremely fun to drive.
Brother, I need to get some for me and the boys in Vegas. From driving bumpers downtown to riding rockets in the suburbs. This ride was first launched 3/4 of a century ago, and it's still as popular as it was then. A true blast from the past. This is the rocket ship car. Oh, brother.
It's pretty special. I used to ride this thing when I was real young. It's like reliving your childhood again on a daily basis.
Euclid Beach Park closed in 1969, but the spirit of this popular amusement park still lives on in this space-age ride. Joe spent 2 years building the rocket ship car, determined to bring this beloved machine back to the streets of Cleveland. It's a clever custom piece of engineering that brings a smile for every mile.
There were 3 of them built at Euclid Beach Park in 1935. It was basically called a circle swing, and there were 3 rocket ships on the ride.
I rode it as a little girl. Yeah, it was high up. It must have been on chains or something. It was attached and just went around this huge pole, I think. Yeah, it was fun.
My uncle worked at Euclid Beach Park. They'd let us ride the rides for free. Sometimes we'd go to the park 3 or 4 times a week. It was probably the last ride we would ride as we exited the park.
These rides were iconic to the local area, and long after the park's closure, Joe started collecting memorabilia from his childhood haunt.
Everything that you see here is original from Euclid Beach Park.
But with this beautiful rocket ship no longer needed for the fun fair, Joe set about converting it for the road.
It's mounted on a 1-ton Chevy truck chassis. It's got air ride suspension on it. Everything on the car that you see, the stainless steel, all the wood floors, those are all original, built in 1935. This car is powered with a 502-inch big block Chevy, which gives it a nice even ride when you're going down the highway. Whatever the speed limit is, that's how fast the car will go. So it has plenty of power to go much faster than that. When we build our cars, we take them out to a track and we run them up to 100 miles an hour, just to make sure everything feels right, because we're going to be carrying passengers in these vehicles. After that, they really never see that speed again.
Hey, who cares about speed when it's this entertaining?
It's got a little bit longer wheelbase, which gives you the sensation that you're kind of floating along.
We ride it every year, so we've probably ridden it 7 times. Just the breeze on a hot day, like, it's just so much fun.
We rent it out for everything, from little Jimmy's 5th birthday party. The oldest birthday party I did, the lady was 104 years old. She used to ride it at the amusement park. But we also do weddings. We do a lot of festivals. Any venue, whether it's a block party, you bring this car in, it takes it to another level of happiness. We do call these cars the happiest rides on earth because they just make people smile.
Me too, brother, me too. From blasting off to boating around.
Outrageous fun in the sun. It's different. It's unique.
Our final ride really goes against the tide. It's as at home on the road as it would have been in the water. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Laboda.
I created Laboda 10 years ago. A lot of people ask me where the idea came from. I guess I just thought it would be cool to put a boat on top of a convertible.
Birthing Laboda required the perfect 2 parents. And they came in the form of a 1976 Apollo speedboat and a 20-year-old Chrysler LeBaron. Once Tim had completed this head-turning conversion, it became the star attraction on the streets of Spokane. This baby cruises smoothly along the city roads, but brother, with a ride that low, watch out for the speed bumps. The whole conversion only took 3 days. Now that's what I call a speedboat.
I knew that I was going to have to cut all around the bottom of the boat so that I could just have the shell. It was not fun, it was hot out, and those 2 days of cutting, it was long and itchy. The LeBaron is the basic power plant underneath there. It is a front-wheel drive V6 3-liter engine, 20 miles a gallon around town, 25 on the highway. Speed-wise, I think I got it up to 100 miles an hour. It handles like a boat, pretty much. You've probably added 400 or 500 pounds on it. It's a foot wider on each side, but you kind of just get used to driving it. It's fun. People either laugh at me because I'm crazy or just laugh because it's just a fun thing.
Some folks might see this thing as a bit of a joke, but Laboda has one feature guaranteed to have the last laugh.
I put an outdrive on the back. Recently, I hooked up a windshield washer to that, so the water shoots 30 feet. I can turn the outdrive this way and that way I can escort people on both sides of the sidewalk.
Hey, a little Vegas strip spritz might be welcome. So how often do you take a voyage on a ride like this?
I drive Laboda almost every day. It's very reliable, very dependable. If I go into a store, you can leave it out in the parking lot. And usually when you come back, you find a small crowd of people looking at it or taking pictures.
Never seen anything like it. It's so rad.
I think this vehicle is awesome. Just the way it's put together and just a work of art.
When I was driving, it looked like it was literally on the water, like going down the road.
But beautiful Laboda is not for everyone.
My wife tolerates the car. She does not like getting in and out of it because there's no ladylike way of climbing over the side.
But there's one use of this ride even Tim's wife approves of.
I've done rides for charity, and that's kind of my main thing to keep my wife happy because she thinks it's all about me.
Man, I think she might be onto something there. Tim, there's one question we're all dying to ask.
Does it float? It may float once. Do you want to go try it with me?
Thanks, but no thanks, brother. Wow, it just goes to show you. Doesn't matter what it is. If you can put wheels on it, fit an engine in it, then brother man, it can ride. I'll see you next time on Ultimate Rides.